Hi there, my name is Ellen and I'll be correcting the set of essays for you. Let's take a look at what you've written here. Okay, I see we have different categories here, different areas of the world, and 2 different years. So let's see what the topic is. You didn't include it from what I can see. So let's see what you wrote. The bar chart illustrates the amount of money used on varying types of, you say here, diversions in different parts of the world within 5 years. Okay, I don't know if I like the word diversions. It would have been really helpful if you had included the prompt that you wrote off of, so that I could have seen potentially what other words would have been appropriate here. I'm thinking maybe types of entertainment would have been good. And then also, I don't really agree with this within 5 years, because that's not really accurate within 5 years. You could have said over a 5-year period, or simply you could have just said in both 1995 and 2000, which would have also been very accurate. So it's important that this is accurate. It shows how well you can rephrase, and if you have the appropriate amount of vocabulary and grammar to rephrase correctly. Okay. Overall, financial, now it doesn't tell us, is this in dollars, is this in euro, or we were missing some information here, so that also would have been helpful. Overall, financial resources allotted to entertainment, okay, not have increased, but just increased in all regions listed during the 5-year period, and television and publishing received, okay, with a D, television and publishing. Okay, that's true. The largest portion of monetary resources. Okay, fine. Now, it's not have, because both of these time periods are in the past. 1995 and 2000 are all clearly in the past, and so the appropriate tense here is past simple. So it should have been increased in all regions during the 5-year period. Television and publishing received, with a D, the largest portion of monetary resources. Okay. Entertainment revenues in Asia went up from 67 million, no S when you have a number in front, from 67 million in 1995 to 110 million in 2000, whereas those in Europe showed a smaller increase of 34 million to 131 million in 2000. Fine. Financial resources allocated to entertainment grew most significantly in the U.S., which saw a rise from 184 million, no S again, to 257 million within that time frame. Perfect. I'm really glad that you did it like this. This is absolutely the best way to do this. It's a stacked bar chart, so you very appropriately spent a paragraph talking about these totals here, and that's absolutely what you would have done. You should have done. Now, you really just went down the row, essentially. Personally, I would have preferred something different. I would have preferred if you had talked about the highest first. Okay, so you could have talked about how the United States in 1995 spent the highest amount of money on entertainment at 84,000, or whatever that number is, million. And then you can talk about the increase. Then you could have talked about how entertainment spending in Europe was half of the amount of America. Okay? And this trend continued in 2000. See, this is pretty much half of this. So these are the kinds of connections that you want to be making here. Okay? And then you could have also talked about how in Asia, this is about 1/3 of the number in the United States. Okay? And this is less than half, okay, in 2000. So those are the kinds of connections, those are the kinds of comparisons. When they say make up comparisons where relevant, this is what they mean. Okay, now let's see what you actually did within the categories. In all regions, it is noticeable that published work and television were 2 of the biggest categories, IES, on which consumers spent past money, accounting for 70 to 80% of the entertainment earnings. By sharp contrast, careful with your grammar here. So by let me try it again, sorry. By sharp contrast, we can see how little customers spent on movies and videos, representing less than 10% of the revenues in all 3 regions, regardless of the year. All right, that's nice. I like that. Okay. So here's the good thing about this. I think that you're absolutely, you have really kind of caught the essence of what you need to do here in this task 1. I think what you did was very appropriate. The way you organized your ideas was extremely appropriate. So I would say that in terms of coherence and cohesion, you did very, very well. I would say in terms of grammar and lexical resources, you also did very, very well with this. If there was one thing I would have wanted to change, it would have been the organization of your ideas, because doing it just like straight down the row like this doesn't really show a lot of critical thinking. It's not the most logical thing to just start like from left to right. It makes a lot more sense to start with the highest and then go to the lowest, okay? Because remember, this is a top-down kind of task. So that's how I would have started. I would have said that in 1995, the highest or the most amount of money on entertainment was spent in the United States at this, and then you can make those relevant comparisons that we already talked about. So the one area that for me was that needed a little work was this task achievement portion here, but I think you did an excellent job. So let's move on to your task 2. Let's look at the topic. Music is played in every society and culture in the world today. Some people think that music brings only benefits to individuals and societies. Others, however, think that music can have a negative influence on both. Discuss both views. Why would it have a negative influence? That's interesting. And give your own opinion. Okay, let's see what you said here. People have different views about the effects music has on its users and societies as a whole. While I accept that it provides significant advantages to humankind without the here, some negatives inevitably come with it. Lovely. Now, this is really interesting here, though, because I want you to know something that's very important about task achievement. It's very, very important if you're aiming for a band 7 and higher to make your position clear. Okay? In fact, I invite you to look at the band descriptors for task 2. Look at task achievement under band 7, and it says that a clear position can be found throughout the essay. Okay? So how can you ensure that you have done that? Well, whatever the question here is, whatever the command is here, you need to address it and answer it in your introduction. Okay? And then it'll help become more clear throughout your essay. So why are we talking about this now since you gave me this? Well, because I can't really say 100% that I am clear on what you think is stronger. So where is your opinion? You accept that there are advantages, but there are some negatives. So are you 50-50? Are you 60-40? It's not entirely clear. Okay? So it absolutely is in your best interest to make sure that it is abundantly clear whether you're 70-30, 60-40, you know, whatever, 51-49. But we should know in your introduction where the pendulum kind of sways. Okay? So just keep that in mind. Because here, honestly, it feels sort of 50-50 from the language you used. I just want this to be clearer. Let's move on. Music is effective in stress relief, venting emotions, and various other benefits that enhance our daily life. Listening to music while doing nothing helps the listener clear up the clutter in their mind and free up mental capacity. Not mental capacity, maybe mental space would have been a better word here. Just because it doesn't create a natural collocation. We don't free up our mental capacity. We free up something, space, not capacity. Preparing them for future tasks and preventing them from being overwhelmed by responsibility or pending work. Lovely vocabulary, good. Furthermore, listening to a sad song whose remedy, no, that's not the right word, matches an individual's foul mood has been associated with a reduced feeling of loneliness and sorrow. As such, musical works give an impression that the songwriter shares the difficulties the listener get rid of the apostrophe S here, is faced with. Okay, we don't use contractions in task 2. It's considered informal, so avoid it. Another excellent use of music is for people to dance to its rhythms. This activity has been helping people make new friends and bond with each other for hundreds, if not thousands, of years, and it is of great value in terms of socializing and as a means of entertainment. Lovely. If I had to maybe suggest one little thing, maybe you could have just given us a more tangible example. You could have potentially developed this just a little bit more. I think you did a great job. But again, when you're aiming for one of those high band scores, which I suspect you are, it doesn't hurt to add a little more. In other words, anytime you make some sort of assertion, some sort of a statement, some sort of an idea that you're expressing, what I want you to ask yourself is, why? After you say something, ask yourself why, how. And if there is an answer to that why or how, then that means you should add it to your essay. Okay? This way you know that there's more to develop. When there is no why or how to answer, then you've really developed your answer fully. Let's move on. However, it does possess some detrimental aspects. Now, here, I like that you used however. That was absolutely appropriate here, since you're switching gears, you're switching sides. However, since this is a new paragraph, it is useful to restate the topic that we're talking about. So what does it refer to? It refers to music, but you have used so many nouns in this previous paragraph that it's impossible for the reader to automatically assume that you're talking about music. So make it clear. Actually say, however, music does possess some detrimental aspects. Modern rap music often features lyrics that involve robbery, assault, substance abuse, and murder. Such songs, excellent use of cohesion here, very good, apparently serve as bad influences on children's behavior who are impressionable and lack judgment. Now, careful here, because you said children's behavior, and then you said who, but behavior is not a who, it's a thing, so it should be which. So you have to be really careful with this type of grammar. I'm really happy that you're trying to use this type of more advanced language, but it also is important that it's accurate. So let's talk about what you could have said here instead. Such songs apparently serve as bad influences on children who are impressionable and lack judgment. Okay, do you see the difference? So the who here is absolutely appropriate because it refers back to children. Now, we never use the word kids in IELTS because it too is informal, and so we avoid it in task 2, okay, or in any sort of formal writing. Such children might have increased risks of pursuing these activities along with other pettier crimes. On top of that, popular music often instills, here you need an S, inappropriate values that preach abusive relationships or casual sexual encounters to younger people, because you preach something to someone. An audience that approves of this an audience that approves of these ESE kinds, plural, of notions is less likely to have a respectful partner and satisfactory marriage. Okay, I thought this was lovely. I thought the language you used was fantastic. Again, I kind of have here the question of why, how. So can you support this? You said that they're less likely to have a respectful partner. How do you know that? What can you tell us about that? Do you have any sort of support for this? Even just a made-up statistic. Okay, so maybe you could have just, make it up. It's not, you don't have to be super specific about it, but you could have just said that studies found that people who listen to these types of music with this kind of lyrics, say for example 10 hours a week, I don't know, have a higher percentage of divorce or, abusive relationships. It's up to you, really. Okay, but do provide some sort of tangible kind of evidence here. Personally, I do not consider the viewpoints mutually exclusive. As with practically everything else, everything should be in one word. Music certainly has both positive and negative aspects. In conclusion, music, while offering us a decent number of benefits, also unavoidably has some detrimental implications. Okay, this is lovely. This I'm not a huge fan of. Generally here at the site, at IELTSpodcast.com, we don't recommend 5 paragraphs. This, in fact, isn't really a paragraph. It's just 2 sentences. So, and this is what I was concerned about. It's, again, kind of 50-50. I would have liked to see the pendulum, you know, or the scale kind of weigh at least a little bit more in favor of one than the other. I would have really just included this in the side that I felt a little more strongly about. I don't think that it's appropriate to have a paragraph that's only 2 sentences. Okay. So the takeaway with this essay is that I think your writing is at a very high level. I would like a little more information about you, about your IELTS goals, and whether you've taken the exam in the past and what your scores were. I think your writing is great. It's very natural. Your use of language is very, very fluent and high level. Grammar is well controlled. Things like coherence and cohesion are also really, really well controlled. You did a great job. There are little things that I would like to see improved upon, okay, just to ensure that you're getting the kind of high score that I think that your writing could and should get. So one of the things that I would like to suggest to you is potentially, if you found this essay correction helpful, that is, I'd like to see you signing up for a package of essay corrections with us. We can continue giving you feedback and helping you make improvements on your writing so you can get the kind of score you probably need. Okay, I look forward to working with you in the future. I hope that you'll consider working with us. So lots of luck to you.